Ashe, I am returning from the beach and about to cross a bridge that I thought would be nice to have captured on camera. So here we are, about to go up on this bridge. You can see the bridge in front of us. I don't know, how well can you see it? Let's put the phone back and turn it towards the water. Anyway, Love+Art equals wellness, Heart Happy Hour, season 5. And today I did broadcast from the beach, and this is the road trip back. I will be making a stop at Mom's. What is that? My Organic Market. Yeah, I'll make a stop there, and then I'll head on in to fix me some din din. I got about an hour, and I'm sorry, maybe about 2 hours really worth of road to head home. So anyway, so earlier today I started talking about a few things that I thought would be kind of cool to continue the conversation on. And then, believe it or not, and I'm being totally honest, and then I forgot what it was as soon as I turned it on. I was just so excited to be able to show this bridge and this water. I don't know how well any of it is seen. It seems like it's better as scenic as I thought. So the signal was messing up while I was doing all of that. So hopefully you got some of the vision of the view. I think this bridge is relatively new-ish, because I do remember this bridge being very rickety. Not rickety, but it felt like it swung in the wind. It felt like it was swinging in the wind. So I've always I talk about a lot of things that I think are not everybody agrees with. It's not for everybody to think this way. Like I talked about the wisdom teeth being like there's a system above, like a spiritual system, not like not your chakras. It does include the chakras, but it seems to me like there's something above that we need to be aware of about ourselves. And so there's two things I do recall that I did want to talk about. One is the inside talking, and the second is the something that I've figured out in reference to these space shuttles, which I used to keep up with how many were per month being launched and so on, because they were publicizing that, but now they're not. The publication of it is not totally accurate, I don't think, because it's not all inclusive of everyone that does have the I don't know if it's the approval or the rights or the authority or whatever to actually launch, because there's some private stuff and some public stuff that not all of it do we have privilege to know. So I want to talk about first, let's talk about the inside talking. Okay, so I saw this video on one of the platforms, I don't know, X or FB or IG or whatever, and it was a dog that was that had because how the cats say meow or hello, they get to that point, but then when the dog talks, the dog actually is saying it on kind of the inside breath, and by that I mean hello, like that, like I love you, like I think that's what I observed. That's what I observed of the dog that was that I saw the other day. Yeah, I have beach hair. But that inside talking, I believe, is part of that snore system that I talked about. That I said that I believe snoring is a language. And so when I am able to tune into someone that is snoring, it's a major industry for, the sleep research and the, all the adjustments that are made to people's nose and nasal and, that whole passageway for their breathing. And, breathing is essential, as well as breathing is essential for us to stay alive. So if someone does stop breathing for periods and then, start breathing again, I mean, I see that as no different than when the gurus or the persons that are learned or studied of, how to elevate or ascend. Most times they do meditation and they're breathing exercises that are a part of it. And let me see. Bigger, hello. Ooh, okay. Well, love and wellness to you too, Ashe. All love around the world, around the world, around the world. But yeah, the snoring thing, that's actually when they are inhaling. That, actually that is part of the sound that you get when you do the water breath. And the water breath is also part of what you do in a gateway meditation scenario as well. The water breath was brought into the process, procedure, or technique by, I had to actually approve it, but it was suggested by High Priest Master Chef, who was able to give the instructions on how that breath is actually done. So that means that when we're snoring, we're actually doing the water breath, and or something very similar to it, for down the same, road, on the same street, down the, on the same block or something. It to me has a very, very close similarity. And so it stands to reason why, just the same way they pull they pull out your wisdom teeth or take out these different various organs that, were said to, just like they said, we had junk DNA, which they find out is not junk DNA, but which, that was something that was a very believable narrative that we held on to. But for the sake of the things that we don't know about ourselves, as I said, I do the science of self. I am learning things from myself, from my own experiences, and taking notes and learning from these things. So with these inside breaths, with me, first off, it was years ago when I first discovered that I thought that the spirit was speaking through me through the snoring, years ago. And so over the years, I have paid attention to when someone was snoring so that I could see, am I able to engage with the person, their spirit, because the physical is asleep, but there is some snoring going on. So to me, that is a conversation that can be had with the spirit. I've had it, I felt it, I think, I believe, I know there's something to it. So anyway, so that inside breath. So sometimes I like to do it this way and say, I got everything done, everything always works out. It's a beautiful day. I'm traveling so comfortably, and luxury is my lifestyle. So, so you can hear what I'm saying, but again, I refer to that type of conversation or that kind of communication as being similar to, when they said that you can turn the LP, the album, rock album or whatever, if you were to play it backwards, which to me, we're exhaling when we're talking this way, but we're inhaling when we're talking this way. So it to me is, that's what you're doing. You're reversing the pattern of the air release or capturing the air. To me, that is giving you what I just said. It's like the inside breath. I call it the inside breath because you're letting the air come in as you are going expressing across these vocal cords or into that vortex. So I really think there is something to that. I wish I could, I guess I could try to see if there's anybody else. Well, I take that back. I do recall a brother, the Black Airbender, who was on Black Magic 363. Hey, Richie Rich, One Love and Wellness, wear that crown in health, in wonderful health. I am a chiefess, blah, blah, blah. Just wanted to make sure that I let you know that I did feel the desire to elevate your status. I mean, not to say that I sanctioned it, but whatever came through me, and I gifted what I gifted, how I gifted, for the reasons that I gifted. It wasn't a public thing. It was me feeling the desire to be sure that the energy could be amped up, and with the tool that was given, that is the case. There is a way to amp up, and I believe I extended some information to say, please be in touch so that I can give you further instructions how to use and apply that tool. So, but anyway, so yeah, the brother, the Black Airbender, he spoke about how when we breathe in, like, your blood pressure, like, so our lungs have a capacity, or have its normal range of intake and output, which, when some of the meditations you do say, breathe in for a longer period than for what you blow out, or blow out for a longer period for then you inhale, for various techniques. So inhale the roses, smell the roses, blow out the birthday candles, right? So I think my assessment, my interpretation, or my discoveries have been that when he spoke about the inhale, and the capacity to inhale, and how it continues to move through our system. Once we inhale, it's not, like, we get the energy off of it, and the energy just keeps going, so it has a capacity to which it reaches, and you're amping up your energy. It's almost like when you have those, those things where you crank it up to get the energy. Well, I have one of those flashlights where you do like this to actually keep the energy going, the wheel, like that. So I think of our charging ourselves up in that way. It's like we are, I don't want to say solar activated. Solar power is, it's captured. It can be diverted into something to hold the charge and to keep the charge, and then to transfer and use the charge. So I'm thinking of that charging system being in us like that. So I believe that when you inhale on your, when you're talking, if you're inhaling, then you are doing that same sort of thing. You're still charging up, as if you're taking a breath, but you're also using that chi, or that energy, in a way. That was good. That was okay. You're using that energy across your vortex with, some phonics, or what do you call it? With whatever the words are that you're trying to communicate. So to me, that gives it a certain value, and then you amp it up with whatever chi and energy that comes in when you're speaking on an inside breath. When you breathe in, you're talking while you're breathing in. And so I really think there's something to that. And, I'm going to be in touch with that brother, because there was something else that he mentioned that made me connect my inside breath conversation with what he's studying. And he mentioned a lot of things that he was able to, that I was able to, say, oh yeah, me too, kind of thing. In particular, he talked about I don't know if it's called tandem dreaming, or when two people or more or whatever are in a dream together, like they know that they're in a dream together. And I've had a couple of occasions where I've had a dream, and the person in the room, or the person next to me, or the person nearby me, or the person in another level in the building that I'm on, was in the dream too. And the funny thing is when you recognize that you're in the dream together, which I heard another sister talk about this on another YouTube program, and it was live, and she was talking about how she met someone in her dream. They recognized that they were dreaming, and they were able to communicate some information on how to get in touch with each other in the waking hours, and they were able to get in touch with each other, and have formed some alliance, and new forging through with whatever that connection brings for them. But ooh wee, one of the people, and this was a really really good brother. This brother had helped me in a major scenario, in a major way, and he was actually I was very taken with him at the time. He was a musician and an artist, and his music was like off the chain to me. It was popping. But anyway, he did not want to see me ever again. That dude ducked me for the rest of our knowledge of each other, as far as how to connect. He didn't take any of my calls, which I didn't keep trying, but my first 3 or 4 times, I did, attempt to, like, he was the first person that it happened with, and I was like, hey, let's talk about this. I was ready to research, the science itself. I was ready to get into some the line of questioning, so I could figure out, what was that, and how can we do it again? Because it was fun. We had a ball in the dream together. So he was gone, and off to La La Land, whatever the case is. Never got in touch with him again. But then there was a young kid that happened with, and when we realized that we were in the dream together, I actually took his hand and made him go with where I was going, because I thought, it was safer or whatever. There was some crazy stuff going on. So when we woke up and we realized we were in that dream, I realized that we were in the dream together. I don't know how well he realized it. And that's the thing, because I was trying to do some discovery conversation with him. And as I was trying to discover things, his mom got involved, and his mom, um, she actually she had, or has, I'm not sure if she still has, but she had a mental imbalance. And so she was very protective, very trying her best to make sure, he's safe and nothing never comes to harm. So she felt some apprehension for him to continue that conversation with me, but she wasn't familiar with it. It was something, even though she was into the spirit. Oh my God, this girl was, great cook, makes jewelry. I mean, as a person, very admirable. But because of the head injury, there were some rough spots here and there with our interactions, because of her, I'm not going to say reluctancy, but she didn't feel safe very often. She actually had people who were looking for her, or wanting to do, some take some matters into their own hands with her, that really, wasn't their place. But whatever the case is, everybody felt they were all trying to help. Nobody was really trying to hurt anybody. They thought they were doing the right things, kind of thing. But anyway, so that young man, ironically, I saw him last summer. Him and his mother, they were together. He actually ended up being a couple inches taller. He had been at least about, maybe 6 or 7 years since I had seen them. And so I saw him as taller, looking a little older, still having a young boy's, the look of a young boy. He was probably, maybe when I first saw him about 9. And so at this point, maybe he was about 16, 15, probably like 15. But yeah, so we didn't. I went up to her and I was like, "Hey, how you doing? I haven't seen you guys in a long time. Do we know you?" Or something very rude and very standoffish. And I tried to give her some recall or recollect that, hey, you remember blah 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 blah. We, and she told her son not to tell me. That was very interesting. But yeah, so my phone looks like it's overheating some, so it doesn't look like I'll be able to continue this for too much longer. But let me see what's going on since I'm at a stop on the screen. I'm the first one to give you a like. Aw, well, thank you for giving me a like and starting that ball rolling. All right, and who is this? Hi, Jason Floyd. How are you, dear? It's good to exchange some formalities of greetings with you. And let me see. So, Vipe 007, Viper, you retracted your message. Okay. And then Mac Pedro, what's up? Hello. One love. Ashe. So yeah, so it looks like I am going to have to cut this short. Thanks for hanging in there with me. Heart Happy Hour season 5. But I did want to talk about last thing. Let me just see if I can fit some of this in. But these, how there's movies about space cowboys, and there's various storylines with these outer space kinds of things. I said I wanted to relate this to the shuttles, right? So the space launches and that kind of thing. But so there's this apparently, excuse me, the what do they call those things that's floating out in space? Meteors. I think that's what they are. So there was a launch of about I think this year there was a launch of a multi places is that there this particular launch I'm speaking on was a launch for these shuttles or space vehicles to go and meet up with meteors or space rocks, these big boulders that are, you know, littered throughout space from explosions, from collisions, from particles and pieces of other things that were formerly bigger. So they bang into each other and they become smaller and more little pieces come off, or an implosion, explosion, or whatever comes, and their pieces are scattered across the galaxy. So apparently, and I looked this up, and I spoke about this before, but I'm still, I don't know. There are a lot of things that we know about that we just don't. I say we, that the general public knows about, but will not do further research to find out what's going on. And so the further research that I did about these meteors, so they're mining on these space rocks. So these space rocks have potentially invaluable gems on them, including space diamonds, and so there is some farming of that, or gathering, some mining, some space mining that's going on to capture. And I don't know if they're safe to distribute or what, but I do know, very interestingly enough, that is a very valuable, and I don't know, who all's doing the mining and what they're doing with it, and are they selling it already, and is it something that we just never even talk about, and it has just been being done for the longest. So looks like hi sisters. Sisters channel 6436. Hi to you. One love and wellness. Ashe. But yeah, so I just wanted to slip that in on the end, which was that these space meteors, these space rocks, this, space debris, or these, um, there's some gems floating up there in the sky. And I'm not exactly sure what they're doing with them, but there are diamonds in the sky. Lucy in the sky with diamonds, right? And who the movie Lucy, that was, she became the all. I look forward to someday, one day, the place where I can get to, expanding into the all, or capturing the place where, I mean, I have had experiences where I felt like I was with the all. The one time that I can say very clearly, I think that was the case, was I was meditating. I was meditating, and that I had this meditation where there was, uh, I was in my meditation. I saw this bridge, an arch bridge, and it was a being standing on the bridge. And I only know it was a being because I looked at the figure, and it looked like the figure of, an illuminated being. And that illuminated being had said, do not look upon me. And boy, did I. I did. I looked upon them, and as soon as I did, my mind just scattered. And I believe I just expanded and exploded. I kind of was. I feel like I lost my marbles that day. I feel like it took me a couple of days to pull myself back together, to pull all my pieces back into position. Okay, fam. Love and wellness. Ashe, ashe. That was all I wanted to say. I always have a lot to say, and I be thinking of things at the last minute, the end, just before I finish. Ashe, I'll see you guys next time. Peace and wellness. Hi.